welcome to episode number 49 of the NordCast. It is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, and we got a guest on this episode. I am Nordic97, joined with Carter. How are we doing today, Carter?
Hi, I'm not the guest, but I am glad to be here.
No Jack, yet again, for the second straight week. And for the third time, the hat trick, coming on the NordCast, it is Seth Chason. How are we doing today, Seth?
I'm here, ready to rock and roll, ready to record an awesome podcast.
Oh, yes. So Seth has been asking me for the past couple of weeks to come on, and after he helped me look for a car, I pretty much could not say no and stall him more. I'm kidding. I love having Seth on. We had him on. Last time we had him on was the 2023 playoffs. I had him on in before that too, a little bit. So I've had him on a couple of times, and I'm glad to have him on for a third time. So this time's going to be a little bit different. What we're doing is we're kind of going to interview Seth here a little bit. A lot of the times we brought Seth on, we've kind of just, talked about news, playoffs, all that good stuff, because Seth's a big hockey guy, talks about, and does a radio, so he can just talk for hours and hours and hours on end. So prepare for that.
It's uncanny.
But I figured it'd be a cool idea to kind of get to know Seth a little bit here, ask him some questions about the Penguins this season, because he is a Penguins fan. Some stuff about his radio field, some men's league hockey questions, all that good stuff for you guys to listen to. Seth's laughing right now, so I'm assuming that the men's league ones are going to be interesting.
It's well, Carter knows about it.
I do.
Yeah. All right. So
Beer league weapon.
We'll start off with the first question. How did you become a hockey fan? Now, everyone has a different story in becoming a hockey fan, but what was yours?
So my dad, he used to play hockey in high school, and then he was a hockey fan. Grew up being a Capitals and an Avalanche fan, and he kind of just instilled it in us. We started playing as a kid, and I started following the NHL back in '08. So when the Penguins were actually good, back in the glory days. But I remember the first game I watched on TV was the '09 Game 7 Stanley Cup Final, and my favorite animal was a penguin at the time. So I want the Penguin team to win, and also I liked watching Crosby play, and the rest is history. Became a Penguins fan the next day, and now we got a spending addiction on jerseys. So here's that.
Oh, sure. Is that your jersey rack behind you there?
Yeah, I just spent like $30 on it to get some jerseys, but instead of having it on the wall, so I could put like my got a tour poster there for one of my favorite bands. Got a couple set lists and all that hanging up on the wall. My diploma's over there in the corner. Yeah,
for the audio listeners, you guys obviously cannot see that, but Seth does have a jersey rack and some pictures on the wall. So
it's got my
last time we had Seth on, he actually had his jerseys on the wall. So nice little change there to his setup. So when you were getting into the radio broadcasting field, how exactly did it happen? Was it through watching hockey, or was it through something else? Did you see documentary become him?
So I've always had a passion for talking, and I've always, when I was a kid, I really wanted to do like a podcast or do something like that. And getting into college, I had my first podcast. I was at another school other than my one I currently graduated from. My buddy and I, Micah Rollins, and I set up a podcast where we just talk sports for like 30 minutes, and we had some guests on. It more turned into a talk show, and then COVID hit, and then I got sent home. I did the podcast by myself for a year or so, and then I took a tour of my current community colleges that I graduated from, their radio station, and I started volunteering there in the summer of 21. I started my show in June. So June of this year will be 3 years that I've been doing some radio stuff. And then I met my buddy Evan in November-ish time frame, and we both had an interest in like sports broadcasting, and we went over to the gymnasium and was talking to the athletic director, like, hey, can we do like broadcasting? And next 2 weeks later, we were broadcasting games together. However, I did have some experience at my old college prior to the one I graduated from, if that makes sense. Doing basketball and some baseball and finally got into doing some lacrosse here this season and end of last season. So it's been on the come up. We've been able to expand our sphere of influence.
It's not me, right? It's not my Evan. Correct. Just
nope, not your Evan. Not your Evan.
Making
not
sure
you.
I'm not involved with that. What was the hardest thing that you had to overcome getting into that field?
I think it's mostly the nerves of being able to go on air. Once I got over that within the next few weeks, because you're like on live radio, like you mess up, everyone hears it. It was more so that just kind of, I don't want to say fear, but like just kind of the nerves. And then while broadcasting games, because it's all live. Like if you're on the radio, obviously you got to talk a little bit more, especially during baseball. You can't have a lot of dead air. Now, if we're broadcasting on the website during the stream, that's fine. It's a visual, so it's not like people aren't watching the game, or people are watching the game on the stream. They're not watching the game on the radio. So learning the different technique and the way to explain things, and really overcoming as you'll have 3 words, right? 3 words that you will repeat over and over again if you're broadcasting a game, and usually they're going or there, etc., like words like that. And you have to make sure your vocabulary is a little diverse, and you're not saying the same thing over again, and kind of being able to mentally focus on that while watching the game and reporting the action. I noticed even last week I was saying there a lot, and I was saying credited. When someone would score, the goal is credited to Joe Schmo. And I just working on the vocabulary and making yourself sound intelligent as well while on air.
Yeah, I get that. And I mean, early on too, when we were starting this podcast about 2 years ago, even me and Carter had trouble. And like, we're not even on live radio. We're just talking to each other. Me and Carter kind of had that issue for a few episodes, right, Carter? We did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Seth brought up how you got to be intelligent, and that's far out of my realm. So
I wouldn't say that. But,
I mean,
if the last show that I was on is anything to pull from, you and I were giggling the entire time, and it was like, what was it? A good 10 minutes of just us giggling back and forth while Nord was talking.
I don't know. I don't know. That I feel like that's the one good thing about, like, if you're doing like whatever it is that you're doing, if you have good people with you doing it, I think no matter what, you're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna like subconsciously like it's not gonna be your main focus on like, this is my job or anything. This is gonna be like, this is like me hanging out with all my friends, and like as everyone says, if you love what you do, like you'll never work a day in your life. And like this honestly just feels like I'm hanging out with my buddies and just shooting the shit. Like it's awesome.
And like that's the way I watch my think about my radio show, especially my talk show, is where my buddy and I are just bullshitting for 2 hours and just having a good old time. We're talking sports, for basically anything that won't get us canned off air, we'll talk about. And it's just a lot of fun, and I view it as less of a career and more of a hobby right now, because it's a very competitive field to get into. Although I do work at a large radio station in Baltimore, it like the opportunities for moving up don't come very often, because people do stay in the field a while, and it doesn't pay a lot either. Like, I do get paid, luckily, for me calling games. It's minimum wage, but still, it's getting paid. It's another side gig on top of my my main gig. But right now it's a side hustle, and I view it as fun. It's something I love doing. So I just love kind of just talking. That's the thing. Gift of gab.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great side hustle too. I mean, I get paid. This is my main job. Like, I don't get paid on YouTube and TikTok. That's not my main job.
Yeah.
I do, but I don't make nearly enough to make it a full-time job right now. Would I love to in the future? Absolutely. But just right now, it's not the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm in school. I don't pay Carter. He's doing slave labor for me. He's doing
You love the free labor.
I just get the pennies at the end of the month.
Yeah, he gets like the 1 or 2 followers that he gains from it at the end of each month. Essentially.
It's funny now that you bring up followers. So, like over the last week or so, I've called the men's lacrosse game on Saturday. It was a 23-7 victory for the Fighting Owls, and started following some of the guys on Instagram. just to kind of get to know them a little better, so that I can memorize their names a lot quicker. And I mean, it got me a lot of. I got followers who, like the guy who does the edits, the game day edits for he'll take just videos of the game, you know what I'm talking about, doing the highlight edits.
Yeah, I do that. I do things similar to that with my hockey team, so I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I got a lot of new followers over the week from doing that. So not only does it help me grow my platform, it helps me kind of just do my thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get that. And I mean, you put yourself out there, the recognition is going to come to you if you're doing good work. And that clearly shows that you are doing the good work. So when you're working in these fields, have you met any famous people?
Yes, I have. So are you familiar with baseball at all?
I'm starting to get into it this year. Carter might know a little bit more than me.
So do you know who Cal Ripken is?
Carter does.
So Cal Ripken's son, Ryan Ripken, he played for the Orioles. He played throughout the system. He does work for the radio station I work for. He got me. So that's some of the famous people, and obviously the radio DJs that are on air and stuff. Met them, but Ryan Ripken got me in contact with the guy who does play-by-play for the Ironbirds, which is the local high single A baseball team. Literally 5 minutes down the road, 10 minutes down the road from my house. A minor league affiliate for the Orioles. Did color commentary for him, so I got to do that. So I mean, it led into me doing that. But I'd say Ryan Ripken, he's cool. He's a great dude. And I mean, a lot of the radio hosts on the stations I've met are awesome, and even actually on the music side of things, going to concerts and talking to some of the my favorite bands. I met up with some of them, and like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, I play you on my radio show all the time. You're like, your name's not Seth by chance, is it? And I'm like, dude, holy That's shit. Awesome. But I'm not trying to brag or anything, but yes, I have. It's been awesome.
Well, you also met Peter Laviolette. When
I did, and you're still mad about that, aren't you?
I want to tell this story. Let me tell this story. So, I invited Seth out to Allentown, which is 3 or 4 hours from you. It's pretty far away.
I think it was 3. I think it might have been 2.5.
Yeah, so it was a decent drive from you from Maryland up to where I was to watch Flyers Rangers rookie game, and it was overall a boring game in my opinion. The Flyers lost 2-1.
You were getting mad the entire time. It was so. I just looked it up. It's about 2.5 hours, 132 miles.
Yeah. So he drove a pretty sizable length to come see the rookies play, which I thought was pretty awesome. I think he wanted to meet me too, which was great. And we also had this annoying Rangers fan behind us that would not stop yelling. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I was saying.
It's the only time, and I'll interrupt you for just a second. It's the only time I will ever cheer for the Flyers or any Philly team, because I hate Rangers. I hate the Rangers, and I hate the Rangers fans. They're the fucking worst. Pardon my French, but they are the fucking worst.
Yeah, I agree with you. They are one of the worst fan base. They do have some of the worst fans in the NHL for sure.
Some are awesome. I know some that are awesome, but
oh yeah, me too.
Continue. Sorry, continue.
So after the game's over, I say goodbye to Seth. I head back home with my parents, and as soon as I freaking leave, this motherfucker runs into Peter Laviolette. Not even 5 minutes later, leaves the building and sees him walking outside and takes a picture with him. And sends it to me. I'm just like, are you serious? Unbelievable luck.
It was funny as shit. I wanted to say, hey, sorry about 2017, but I didn't have the ball. I didn't think about it at the time, and I'm like, I was more so, holy shit, I just met Peter Laviolette. Like, what the fuck? And of course, I send it to all my group chats and send it to my friend who's a Flyers fan. Send it to so my co-host Evan for my radio show is actually a Flyers fan, so I sent it to him as well. And a couple other guys. It was fucking hilarious. Like, oh my god. Like, huh?
Yeah, just like crazy luck. Unbelievable.
This casually wearing a Penguin sweatshirt too.
Yeah. So before we transition into hockey, Carter, do you have any questions to ask him about his radio stuff or anything like that?
No, not like. Do you have any like big plans coming up for like any sort of radio thing for you, or is this just kind of
Like, so do you mean as in like stuff for my shows, or
Yeah, like shows
in,
or like any
yeah.
play-by-play things. Like maybe you have like a chance to do like a big event or something like that, or anything planned
Not
in the
not
realm?
in the cards right now. What we've been trying to do, and this is a little bit of a secret that only the show listeners and now I guess you guys will be able to hear. I've been working on with my program director, potentially going out to like an event and doing a live. I say live, but it'd probably be pre-recorded Night Owls show. Night Owls is my late night talk show. Go out to like we host a fundraiser every once in a while at a local bar and grill near our house and in the town. And we've been talking about doing a show there for like 2 years, and we're trying to work on getting that set up so we can like actually do a live event, which would be so cool. And then coming up, actually, probably end of the week this week, we're doing our second annual Night Owls March Madness bracket. Obviously, we can't call it the March Madness bracket because it's not the March Madness bracket. It's we're doing a bunch of the best logos for each like sports team. We have like 64 teams, and those best logos.
Are they out of the?
So we got that coming up. What was that?
Are they out of the like the Pro 4 leagues like NFL and NHL?
Yeah, NFL, NHL, NBA, and what's the other one I'm missing? And MLB. So sick. I'm editing. Actually, before we got hopped on, I was editing a little bit some of the graphics for the for that event. We're basically going to put it on our story and have people vote, kind of like we did last year. I don't remember if you remember seeing this, but it was a candy draft.
I didn't see that.
We did like sweet treats, and I think it was Kit Kat that ended up taking the championship home, which they beat out Reese's by like. It was a few votes. It was a close one, but it was a hit last year.
Rigged vote, then that's clearly rigged.
I didn't like the seating of it because my co-host did all the seating, and the Cosmic Brownies should not have lost in the first round. I think they went up against like Twinkies or something like that. They went up against something stupid, and I mean Cosmic Brownies. Honestly, there were a bunch of names, household names in that bracket that really could have been in the Final Four had they have had a different matchup in the first round. But it was this year he took like Evan and his friends took like 2 weeks to put this together, and I'm looking through it now, and it's kind of decent. I don't see a clear winner right out the gate, other than maybe like I have to check see if Seattle's the Kraken is on that list, because if not, I'm going to have to remove something and put the Kraken logo in.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know,
absolutely. So
that was me rambling about the Madness bracket.
Yeah. So transitioning into hockey now, we're going to start off with the Penguins before we get into some men's league questions that I do have now. So I'm just going to let you just talk. What are your thoughts on the Penguins season so far?
So it certainly isn't up to par with how we thought the season was gonna go. I mean, it's been. I see you laughing over there, Carter.
What?
It's been. You're laughing over there. I'm watching you.
Why would I be laughing?
Because you're not a Penguins fan and you don't like the Penguins.
No, that can't be it. That can't be it.
No, it can't possibly be it.
No.
But I mean, I think to begin the season, we thought we were going to win the cup. We thought we had expectations to make a deep run, but the aging core and problems left from the regime that was the comparison to the. I was going to make a bad joke, but Hextall's regime, his dictator regime that finally is over. There are a lot of mistakes from that era that made a ripple effect into this season, and there was even just getting Carlson wasn't going to fix any of the issues. I mean, the Jeff Carter contract, it's just extremely bloated. He's making like 3.2, and he's a 39-year-old. It's like, come on. He's
talked about that when you came on. I think you talked about that when you came on last episode. The last
yeah,
complained about that.
I mean, I like Jeff Carter. I do, but like he's not worth $3 million when he only has like 18 points this season or something like that. And there was just a lot of issues with the bottom six. Guys weren't having like Ricard Raquel took a while to kind of get going. Brian Russ, same thing with him. I mean, obviously Gensel was the other than Crosby was the only thing that really stood out. I mean, Tristan Jarry has been doing decent this season. I mean, he's I believe tied for the most shutouts this season, and he's been certainly trying his best. Same thing with Nedeljkovic. Both goalies have had a great year. It's just the bottom six, and some of our defense is just god awful. Outside of, and I hate saying this, Marcus. I hate Marcus Pettersson, but he's having himself a pretty decent defensive season. You know, EK65, Tanger. Tanger. I mean, I love Tanger. Don't get me wrong. He isn't the same that he was, say, 5 years ago. The team's getting older. Malkin's not firing on all cylinders. It's just a lot of poor things and poor management decisions that happened over the last 2 years under Hextall, and I don't blame Dubas for this at all. I don't. I mean, yes, we're in cap hell because we took on a contract that's $11 million. I think we're paying him like 10 or something like that, but it's not on Dubas, and I hate people saying that it is Dubas's fault. It's not, because you can't make a huge change like that and get rid of a lot of the bloated contracts and the bad contracts. Although he did in the EK trade get rid of the multiple bad contracts. Granlund, who actually is doing okay now in San Jose, getting rid of Zucker, which was a kind of a cheap alternative to like a Rust on that second line. It kind of hurt, but he's not worth $5 million. And just getting rid of some bad contracts was great. I think this year, we just need a tank. I mean, honestly, we're 5 points out of a playoff spot or something like that. Just I don't go for the prize. You know, I know they're playing right now. I don't know the score of the game, but just honestly at this point, just tank, get in that top 10. And I actually liked your pick, Nord, for the projections for the draft for this year, where you took Tidge Ginla.
Oh yes.
I liked that. I think he would be a great fit for the Penguins. I mean, and with his father also had played for the Penguins in the past. He played for like 12 or so games with us. I think it would be a cool story for him to come to Pittsburgh. And I think once we hit the offseason, trade everything that's not named Drew O'Connor, Sidney Crosby, Brian Rust, Eric Carlson, Chris Letang. I say get rid of. I mean, I like Puustinen. I think Pustinen's great. I don't know about Bemstrom. Bemstrom, that was a bad trade. But again, Sully. I mean, look, I love Sully. Don't get me wrong. I love Sully. Sully is a great coach, but I don't think he's the long-term solution as a coach. I don't think Nylander had any chance to thrive in a Sullivan system. He's thriving over in Columbus right now, like 8 points in the last 5 games or something like that. He's doing really well. So that was a missed trade, but you can't win them all. I mean, I hate to say it, but fire Sully at the end of the season. Get in a younger coach that, or maybe promote from the AHL, because I know some of the coaches in the AHL are deserving of an NHL job. Get rid of Todd Reardon, send him to the Sun. That guy just has no business being around an NHL locker room. He does not know how to write up a power play. When you have a power play, and this is going to be on a little bit of a rant here, but when you have a power play of Eric Carlson, Sidney Crosby, Jake Gensel, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, that should be a free goal. But I like Bunting in the room. I would have liked to have gotten Seth Jarvis, maybe a prospect and a pick. Maybe go a little bit lighter on the return, but get like a Seth Jarvis, and it's not just because his name is Seth. It's because he's a really damn good hockey player, and he's literally my age. So he's a younger alternative to Gensel. I am not willing to shit on the Gensel trade yet. I need to see how that works out because we have one prospect that'll be ready for the NHL next year. Hopefully, we'll see some more of Owen Pickering next year. I'm not sure. Sam Poling needs to be pulled up, but other than that, I mean, it's just disappointing, but it's not surprising.
Yeah, so a few things I want to ask you, like specifically, starting off with the Erik Karlsson trade. Do you think they would have been better off not making the Karlsson trade or actually making the Karlsson trade? Because when you look at it, when you look at what they traded away a lot of bad contracts, but they more or less got a contract back that is kind of all that money combined, essentially.
So when we look back at that trade, I mean, I love Erik Karlsson. He's a great player. Do I think it would have solved our problem? Or solved a problem? No, I don't think it did. I think it might have hindered us a little bit. But when you look back at the trade, you get rid of. I'm pulling up the deal here, just so I can refresh myself. But you get rid of the Granlund contract, which is a $5 million contract or something like that for a borderline third liner. You got rid of John Ruda, which was not a great contract. I think he was making like $2 or $3 million. You got rid of Mike Hoffman, who was just horrible. He was a horrible acquisition. It kind of sunk getting rid of Nate Legary and Casey DeSmith, but getting rid of Jeff Petrie was another really bad contract. So you got rid of Granlund was making $5. Jan Ruda, let's call it $4. Hoffman, I think he was no, we didn't have Hoffman. Hoffman was from the Montreal side. Now I think about it. So, and then you get rid of Jeff Petrie, who's making like $6 million, right? So that's $11 million right there. You get $11 million in one player. Is he worth it? He's a great player. He's a great defenseman. He's a great offensive defenseman. I don't think he solves the Penguins' issues, although it's nice to have him on the team. And I think that might have been the only way to get rid of those shitty contracts. So overall, I give it like a B for a trade. Definitely a good first acquisition for the Penguins and for Dubas, and especially if we don't make it into the top or our draft picks in the top 10, we keep that 2024 draft pick that we gave to San Jose. Mm-hmm. So that would be basically getting rid of, a couple pylons, Casey Smith and Legary, a second-round draft pick for Erik Karlsson, Rem Pitlick, a 26 third, and a 24 first. Or keeping our 24 first, basically. So overall, not a horrible deal. But I don't think it solves all problems.
I think that it's all going to depend on if Pittsburgh keeps their pick this year. If they move up, if they start getting enough points to where maybe they make the playoffs, but maybe they don't make the playoffs and they aren't the 10th worst or below, and they lose that pick, then I think they lose that trade. But I think that you kind of said the same things that me and Carter said, and Jack, maybe, I don't even remember. When the Karlsson trade initially happened, we said that it's not a bad deal for Pittsburgh. It doesn't solve all their problems though, and that's kind of what was presented to us this season. So I want to go to the coaching staff now. You kind of went into it a little bit. I want you to talk about the awful power play, one of the worst in the NHL, and Mike Sullivan. Do they fire him?
So I think they do, but I will only be happy if they also fire Todd Reardon, who, like I mentioned, needs to be shot into the sun. I don't think he deserves another coaching job anywhere. I would honestly be happy if he got banned from the NHL. Because he's just so bad. He's ruined the power play. When you've got a team that has like the aforementioned players, you have to be one of the best power plays in the league. But Todd Reardon needs to go. I hate to say it, but I think that's a time for a change in the coaching staff in Sullivan. Maybe keep him around, send him in the front office because he's one of the greatest Penguins coaches. He is the greatest Penguins coach of all time. He is. He won back-to-back cups. He has the most wins in franchise history. He's done a lot for the franchise. Means a lot to the players. Means a lot to Sid, Gino. You name it. And he believes in those guys. But he can only do, on the flip side, he can only do so much with the group he has. And if the group he has doesn't fit his scheme, then you're going to have some issues. I agree with Kyle Dubas. We need to get younger. And I feel like that also means we need to get younger in the way of coaching as well. Maybe get a younger coach. Although I would love Torts on the bench for the Penguins. He would bring a different ferocity to the game that the Penguins so desperately need. Jay Woodcroft would be a good fit for the Penguins. I think had a tough season in Edmonton, a tough go of it, but it's time for a change. I hate saying it, but it's time for a change.
Yeah, he has been in the system for a very long time for the Penguins, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. He's been there for a long time. So it makes a lot of sense that, it comes to a point, and you look at a lot of the coaches too, like eventually it's going to happen for everyone. The motto for a lot of the coaches is that you're hired to be fired, essentially. And for Sullivan, he stayed a lot longer than most coaches. He's one of the longest tenured coaches.
He's the second active tenured coach. Only John Cooper is ahead of him.
Yeah, so eventually you just get to the point where the systems don't work anymore. You need to bring in a new face, and that is what it is. And whether Crosby likes it or not, that might be the right thing to do. So I'm going to avoid the Gensel trade since you said that you don't want to bash that too much. We'll talk about that in another video when it's more developed. If you were Kyle Dubas, would you do things differently?
Yeah, again, he's paid the big bucks to make these decisions. He knows a lot better than I do. He's got a team behind him that they know what they're doing. They're clearly onto something. And I feel like, again, we were waiting on that Gensel trade for way too long. It was, it's going to be tonight. Oh, it's going to be tomorrow night. Oh, it's going to be the following night. We waited way too long on that trade. I think he spent too much time on that deal and was not able to move some of the other assets that maybe he originally planned on moving. And he kind of alluded to that in his press conference after the trade deadline. And I'm gonna touch on the Gensel deal a little bit if that's fine with you. I think again, Gensel, one of the best homegrown Penguins talent that we've had on the ice. An absolute playoff performer. He played alongside Sid for since his rookie season, so he's had time to develop, and Crosby's had a big influence on him, and he's turning 30 this year. He's going to get that big contract. You see, Nylander got that 11-5 deal. Mm-hmm. It was 11-5, right?
It was somewhere around there, yes.
Yeah, and I would say Gensel's a comparable player. Maybe not. I know. Nylander has more points, but if you look at the 5v5 points and all, and just the other extended stats, Gensel is very comparable, and he deserves that money. Now, is it going to be an 8-year deal? I don't know. But when you have trouble signing a player like that, you don't want to lose. You don't want to not trade him and then lose him in the offseason. So, Dubas did what he could do. And do we think we probably could have gotten a better return out of it? Maybe. But again, that's all to be seen. Maybe the prospects that we got are going to be just absolute fucking studs in the league. And we don't know. We don't know until 5 years down the road, especially with a trade like that where there's a huge headliner and a bunch of prospects involved. Now, if I were Dubas, getting off the Gensel trade here, I would definitely have moved like an Eller. I would have moved some of these other guys on expiring deals. Obviously, Carter has a no movement clause, so there's nothing doing there. I would have moved Nedeljkovic because he's been a very, very good backup this year. It was kind of a missed opportunity to not trade him and get picks or get younger because we got Magnus Hellberg in the system and a bunch of other goalies as well. That was it Magnus Hellberg? Wait, no, Magnus Hellberg was the one that was traded, wasn't he?
Was. I believe he was the one that got traded. I think you're talking about. I know you're talking about. He's Blomqvist, Joel Blomqvist. I've seen him play. Is that him?
Not him. Not him. Hold on. I'm pulling it up now.
It was Hellberg. I've actually met Hellberg when he was playing for Wilkes-Barre, and I met him at a Phantoms game. So got to talk to him a little bit about stuff. Definitely interesting guy.
So Magnus Hellberg was Blomqvist. Joel Blomqvist is who I was thinking about.
That was who I was.
Yeah, so Joel Blomqvist, he's ready for a come up. I think he'll be a very decent backup goalie. I would have liked to have traded Ned, maybe even traded Jari. I think Jari's gone this offseason. I don't see him staying here in Pittsburgh, especially when you could move him. You've got some pretty good goaltending depth. Maybe go out and get like another starting goalie that will be able to mentor someone who's been there, done that, to mentor Blomqvist.
Somebody who has a lot of experience. And not on a bad contract. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and maybe move the goalies. Get rid of Pettersson because he's on like a $4 million deal. Just shed the fuck out of cap. Just basically pull in Arizona. Get rid of all the cap that you can, and then just rebuild. Whether or not Crosby likes it, you're gonna have to rebuild. Honestly, and again, I hate saying this, I really do, but maybe move Sid. Sid's set to make an extension this offseason, and out of respect for a player who's been the backbone of this organization. And again, this is just me talking. I wouldn't want to move Crosby, but logically speaking, you can get a lot of fucking assets out of him, and it would help. You'd be able to help the organization in so many ways. And then maybe when his contract expires, bring him back. He'll play a couple years back in Pittsburgh and then retire. Send him to play with Mac. Let him win another cup. Get him another cup, and just kind of move on. You just got to trade a lot of that bottom six to get younger. Carter's got to go. Eller's got to go. Eller's been great for us, but Eller's got to go. Looking at, even getting rid of Raquel. I love Raquel, but he's hasn't had the season that he's not having a season worth $6 million. Is all I got to say.
Absolutely.
He's a good player, good locker room guy, but he's just unfortunately got to go.
Yeah. So, Carter, hey, sorry, you haven't talked in a while. Your mic's actually muted. Do you have any questions for Seth before I ask him my final two?
No, I don't think I have anything. I think he's kind of gone over everything with the Penguins and anything I really wanted to touch base on. But I do got one question. How does it feel to be the second best hockey team in Pennsylvania again?
I was gonna ask him how he feels about the Flyers.
Actually, didn't the Penguins win the season series against the Flyers? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Check the standings.
It was actually tied. The season series was actually tied 2-2.
We did. That's right. It was 2-2. But we are still the
very fun games.
All I've got to say is, was it 1970 something? 1976? I don't know. I don't know. But
did you
it's
get?
It's been over 20,000 days since the Stanley Cup championship. I don't know.
Did you get a first round pick at the trade deadline? Oh no, that's right, you didn't. And who's probably got higher value? Jake Viensel, Sean Walker? I don't really know.
No, but Seth, in all seriousness, what are your thoughts on the Flyers actually being surprisingly decent this year?
I've like I was talking to you during that game. I've matured as a hockey fan, and I have I don't hate the Flyers and hate the Capitals as much as I used to. It's kind of refreshing to see the Flyers actually be able to do something for once.
Yeah.
It's always funny to clown on Flyers fans for just their team being dog water. But you guys got younger. You guys did the rebuild right, and it wasn't a whole like 10-year ordeal like with most cities. You guys kind of flipped it around in 5 years, and you guys still have ways to go. But you're doing more with less. You got a lot of guys who want to be there and who want to play, unlike Cutter Gauthier. But you got a great coach on the bench, and coaches they
Carter just showed off his Drysdale.
yeah. I hate that he's in our division now. It sucks. He's going to be just a beast, but Ludwig just absolutely killed the guy.
All right. but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been really refreshing to see the Flyers do well this year. I mean, like, honestly, the last couple of years, I love watching hockey. I will watch any team. But, like, when your favorite team's not good, there's, like, an aspect of it that's just, like, it's just not.
It's degrading.
Yeah. But when your team's good, not even that, when your team's watchable, it makes it a lot better. Like, there were years where the Flyers, you just couldn't watch them. Like, I could not put myself through it. They would go down like 2 or 3-0 in the first period, and then they just give up. I'm done. They just give up.
Yeah, that's the way I'm feeling with the Penguins right now. I mean, they're down 2-1 end of second to the Devils. We just need to just bomb. We need to
bomb.
Blow it up. We need to tank the rest of the year. Get in the top 10. And again, I loved your Tidge Ginla pick. I would love to see him in the Berg. I feel like him and I mean Braden Yeager. I'd love to see him in the Berg next year.
I love Yeager.
He's going to be a stud. I think Pickering, Yeager, and Tidge would be the next big three.
Yeah, they make some wonders for sure. So my final question here, before we get into the news and all that good stuff, for this coming playoffs, the Penguins are still in it, but if the Penguins don't make the playoffs, who are you rooting for? Or who are you not rooting for?
So I'm not rooting for the Leafs. I can say that. The Rangers and Leafs are the teams that I hope lose in the first round. Who's still in it?
I'll pull up the standings real quick. So in the Eastern Conference, you want me to just say currently in a playoff spot? Currently in the Eastern Conference, you have Florida, Boston, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Washington are currently the teams that are in playoff spots right now, and Philadelphia.
So in the Atlantic, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Panthers. I mean, it's been a great story. They finally have fans. I love how ferocious of a team they are. No pun intended. They're just a very feisty team, and I think they have what it takes to maybe make another run, shed some cap. They got some different players in the mix, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't know, the Metro. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go Hurricanes because of Jake and Bake, and they're actually making a Jake Shakes down in North Carolina for Jake Gensel, so they're going to have more Jake Shakes down there. I don't know if you ever had a Jake Shake, but magnificent.
I don't believe
they are so good. They have them at they had it. I don't know if it's going to be there anymore, but they had it at PPG Paints Arena, and after Gensel would score, they'd have half off Jake Shakes, which is awesome.
That's awesome. Who would you root for from the Western Conference, per se, if you know who's in
the Nucks? Because of Teddy Bluger. I love Teddy Bluger. I mean, Nucks would be a great story, and being the first team since 94, 95, first Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, I'd go the Avs, Jets, or the teams out of the Central.
So not the Jets? Carter's a little disappointed right now.
He said
no, it's the Avs and or the Jets.
He said in the Jets. I gave him a little fist bump.
Oh, I didn't hear him. Oops, my thing cut out. That's probably why. My apologies. My most sincere apologies. But yeah, Carter, do you have any other questions for him?
No, I really don't get anything else. I think you kind of covered pretty much every topic I was probably gonna end up asking Seth. So.
Okay, cool. So thank you, Seth, for those questions. We're gonna get into news.
Hey, no worries.
So, one thing that I did want to bring up is that the NHL is actually collabing with Amazon for a series to release in the fall. They're going to center around 10 to 12 star players. It's kind of, from what I'm getting, it's kind of similar to the quarterback series, the NFL's quarterback.
It kind of also reminds me of Hard Knocks as well.
Yeah, that's
kind of in a way.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be a cool idea. We don't have to list 10 to 12 players, but just kind of spitball out players that you would like to see on this show.
I mean, that they're going to already put Bedard because they got his shaft halfway down their throat. But I think the Chuck brothers would be a nice one because they're a very physical player. Both are very physical, and I think it would be cool to see them, especially having a father in the NHL. Cole Caulfield, I think, would be an interesting one.
Ooh, I've seen that one.
And I mean, Ovi. I think Ovi would be cool, especially chasing Gretzky's go record, which I hope he gets. Again, a reformed hockey fan. Marc-Andre Fleury would be another nice one. Just one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, certainly of our generation. Just getting his 560th win, which is just unreal. Feels like, just earlier this year, him getting 502, it feels like, but he's one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. So those are my few picks, and obviously Nate Dogg would be a cool one.
Yeah. Carter, who would you go with? You don't have to say all of them. I know you sent me a massive list.
I know. I sent you a bunch of them. I feel like, so here's the thing. I feel like if you're going for a TV show and you're trying to bring in as many fans to the game as possible, I think you got to go with star players that have a high popularity profile. So realistically, I don't think that they'd end up getting Sid because he's a pretty private guy, right? I don't see him as being like that. I feel like McDavid, as much as you'd want him in the show, I feel like he's not high enough energy for a TV show or a documentary or anything like that. So I kind of went with guys who I feel like would just be nice personalities to have. So obviously you got Jack Hughes, who's probably one of the biggest American, other than Austin Matthews, one of the bigger American players to ever play. Austin Matthews being another one of them. William Nylander, who's kind of bloomed into this insane player this year. Obviously Bedard, Kachuk, as you said, McKinnon, and then kind of a sleeper one, a guy who's I feel like we've seen a lot of just funny moment clips from him this year. Seth Jarvis. He's been a guy that I've watched him for a long time, and he's just a great kind of locker room guy and all of the above. So I feel like he'd be another great personality as well. And then, I'm gonna say it, Trevor Zegras. He sucks, but he's not that great right now. But if you're looking for personality, he's your guy.
I do also have an honorable mention. We didn't get the hot dog man, Phil Kessel.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah, that's one.
He's more prior to last season winning the Cup with Vegas, he had more Stanley Cups than he had testicles. Fun fact.
It would suck though because he hasn't played it all this year. Vancouver didn't sign him. I was actually so disappointed when Vancouver didn't sign him.
He needs to come back to Pittsburgh. He just sign a year in Pittsburgh. Continue with the Iron Man streak because technically speaking, if he were to sign an NHL contract July 1 and play in October, his Ironman streak would still be intact because he didn't miss a game due to he wasn't on a team and miss a game in the regular season.
Yeah, so I would love to see Phil Kessel on the show. That'd be great. Other guys that I thought would be a cool idea, the Hughes brothers all together. Jack Hughes would make every single teenage girl buy Amazon Prime to watch the episode of the show.
They'd be so wet after it.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't mind Konechny either. Konechny's a guy who chirps a lot, who talks a lot of smack. Definitely seems like he has one of those personalities. I wouldn't mind to see Konechny. A lot of my other picks were pretty obvious. I had like Ovechkin, I had McKinnon, I had McDavid. Maybe get some goalie action in there. Like, I don't know, like Hussein Saros, Connor Hellebuck, something like that. Some names like that that could, start some goalies too. But, I mean, it's a really cool idea. I hope that the NHL facilitates it well and they don't just go with absolute robots like McDavid, as you said. So I don't want to have.
And they're going to do Bedard because the league's got his meat halfway down their throat. Like, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, you can't blame him though, because obviously,
yeah, kid's a stud. But
for sure.
Yeah. So
I did get to see his NHL debut.
So
that's a little fun.
That's right.
I was there. It was a painful night.
Watching below a 3-1 lead, that's fun.
And
anyway,
I was tempted to go to one of his first games in Winnipeg, but of course, doesn't have a jaw, so he didn't play, and I was pissed.
Jaw was deleted.
Contemplating it. I was contemplating. I'm like, do I go? I'm like, you know what? I'll wait a little bit, and then of course, like I think a couple days later, he got hurt, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going.
The kid got lit up. Holy!
He absolutely did.
Clean hit though.
He got pretty humbled. It
was clean.
I think that's like what a lot of players think. Yeah. Anywho, the Wayne train has retired. Wayne Simmons has retired from pro hockey. He signed a one-day contract with the Philadelphia Flyers on April 13th and officially announced his retirement from pro hockey at 35 years old. He was a second-round pick for the Kings in 2007. He played 1,037 games over 15 seasons with the Kings, the Flyers, the Predators, the Devils, the Sabres, and the Maple Leafs, recording 526 points and 1,313 penalty minutes. So one of the better fighters, one of the more influential players, one of my favorite players to watch growing up from the Flyers. Seth, as a Penguins fan, what are your personal thoughts on Wayne the Train Simmons?
I mean, I hated playing against him. I really did. Just because he was a very physical player, and play the type of game that is now not as common. Obviously, we see it in Rempe, we see it in Ludwig, we see it in some other players across the league. That very physical, dirty style of play. But I mean, you got to respect him because he's out there. I mean, he's an NHL player after all. He's a guy that was a leader, just an overall great guy. If you had him on your team and if he was playing against you, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta play against this guy. Mm-hmm. But I mean, congrats to him and just hope the best for him in his future.
Yeah, absolutely. Carter, any thoughts on Wayne the Train Simmons as a Flyers fan?
Wayne was growing up. Wayne was probably like, other than for like the first little bit of my life, Jeff Carter was my favorite player just because he had the name Carter. So of course I'm gonna mess with him. But no, other than that, Wayne Simmons was probably one of my favorite Flyers. Just who he was. Like growing up, I always like when you're a kid, you just like you always like the flashy guys and stuff, but also you watch for the big hits sometimes. And Simmer had some of those just nice hits. He was a fighter, wasn't shy of the corners, would always go in front of the net. And so I feel like that's kind of, I know it doesn't matter anymore because I just play fucking beer league, but that's kind of who I kind of modeled my game after when I was growing up and everything like that. I loved Wayne Simmons. I loved how he played. And I know when we traded him that last Stadium series, and then we traded him like a couple days later, that one was definitely a tough pill to swallow.
Blew up Tanger in that with that hit.
Oh yeah,
on the blue line. Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was mad about that one.
Clean hit though. He's reaching.
He is reaching a little bit. So, also what happened last week after we recorded episode 48, there was actually a scrum in an Anaheim-Chicago game where both John Gibson and Peter Mrazek joined in. So, I don't care if you guys have seen the clips of them fighting. The refs do try and break it up and don't allow Gibson to fight him. Should should the refs or the NHL allow their goalies to fight?
Yes. They're one of the 6 guys on the ice.
100%. Let them fight.
And, the goalies don't get a lot of interaction with the opposing team, especially the other team's goalie, their counterpart on the ice. And I feel like it would be great for again, I know it involves potential injury and they want to make sure the players don't get injured. But in the same vein, it helps grow the game because, if you see a goalie fight, you're like, holy shit, like your first time fan. I think we talked about this when I was on the show the first time. New people go follow the sport of hockey because there's fighting in it. It's a very violent sport. It's a different sport than a lot of other sports out there. And it's one of the only sports that allow fighting, midway through a game. And goalie fights are a rarity. And if you get to go see, oh man, I got to see a goalie fight. Well, now I'm a fan of John Gibson, Peter Mrazek, right? Flowers tried to fight a couple of times. I mean, let the goalies fight. If they're one of the 6 guys out there on the ice, allow them to fight, man. Let the boys play.
Not to mention that, like, also, like, just fighting in hockey in general, like, if you're trying to grow the game, that goes viral every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Goalie fight, too. Why else do you think Rempe's so popular? It's because he came into the league, fought, next game, fought. Like, it's the reason people come to the sport.
Yeah.
The Mike Smith, and who did Mike Smith fight in that one goalie fight? Like a couple years ago?
Was it Campbell?
Cam Talbot.
Cam Talbot.
Yeah. Why else do you think that's probably one of like the most watched like fights ever? It's because it's a goalie fight. We never see those anymore. Like, we got robbed of a Marc-Andre Fleury-Binnington one last year.
Oh, that would have been freaking awesome, too.
That would have been textbook perfect. We had Gibson tapping his stick against LA, and the other goalie was ready, and he was ready to go. We got robbed of that last year, and then this year we got robbed of that one. So, really, if anything, the NHL is just screwing themselves of these viral moments that'll go viral on SportsCenter, ESPN, TSN, everywhere. It'll go everywhere. It doesn't matter, and that's really what's shooting themselves in the foot here. Is like they're just denying us of these moments that'll just go viral, and it's shooting themselves in the foot. I will say one person, as we're on the topic of the NHL kind of going viral, one person who I never realized posted a lot of NHL, Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee, and he has been posting a lot of like NHL like fights, sick goals, big hits. Like, he's exactly the type of NHL fan that the NHL needs to try to appeal to, and they're right now not.
And he reaches a lot of people with his show. I mean, I started watching his show recently when I can catch it, and I mean, he's literally me. He's just very energetic. He is like the dude doesn't sit down when he has a show. He like stands the entire time because he can't sit still. I mean, he just connects with a lot of people, and a lot of people like the guy because he's funny as shit. And I'd love to see. I'd love to see Pat McAfee brought on to TNT with Biz, Wayno, and some of these other guys on it. Yes. That would be a stacked show.
Oh, for sure.
Awesome. I would love to see that. Absolutely. But yeah.
Now let me ask you this real quick though, before I forget. So, jokingly on a broadcast between the Penguins and I forgot what team they were playing, Biz jokingly said, "Oh, they should ban white jerseys." How do we feel about that? I know it's a joke.
That game. I know what you're talking about. I was watching that game. It was Pittsburgh Oilers. I remember that. I remember it was
because we were getting our fucking asses handed to us.
He was complaining about how you can't, like, with players, you can't see it's harder to see them.
The white, yeah.
Light, all the white kind of blends in. And when you're, like, kind of turning around, making a quick pass, I guess, per se, Chris Letang's done it many times this year. He accidentally passed it to the other team.
Turn over Letang.
That's one thing I forgot to bring up. Letang this year has had so many just fumbles.
It's bad.
Like, against the Oilers. He had one against.
It's like Tristan Jarry in 2019 against the Islanders. It's
like watching that over and over again. But yeah, with what he said that, like, you turn around, make a quick pass, you don't realize that so-and-so's there because the white kind of blends in. You don't see it until, like, you focus in for a few seconds, and hockey being a really fast game. So, you agree with that? Like, I mean, like, I kind of think it's not a bad idea. I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, they used to wear these jerseys on, like, the away. They used to wear the home jerseys.
Yeah. See, I don't hate the take. I would love to see some more color matchups. So, for example, right, the Penguins wearing black, the Capitals wearing red. The Flyers wearing their orange, the Penguins wearing their black. Now, for teams that you have the same color of, like the Blackhawks and Capitals, maybe Capitals wear a blue or the Blackhawks wear a white. But I would like to see some more color on color matchups. I think that would be cool because I love looking at jerseys. I love looking at jersey concepts. I think that would be kind of cool, but it's not going to happen. But it'd be kind of cool.
Carter, what do you think about that? That's actually an interesting take. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like, I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, like, we're not getting away from the white jerseys. I still think that a lot of the best jerseys, most of them are like a white looking, like, base jersey. Like, some of the nicest jerseys are like a nice white and everything like that. Like, they're great looking jerseys. But I will say, like, there's definitely a way that we can do this. Like, as you said, like, one team wears like if it's Jets, Flyers, or whatever, right? Jets wear their blues, Flyers wear their oranges, or whatever. Like, and when there's teams that have like multiple, like, same colors, like as you said, red and how they switch to different colors, like most teams have 3 to 4 jerseys, like a white, they're like regular home, like an alternate of some kind, as well as like another alternate, and usually like not like the home, away, and all those. Usually they're different colors too. Like, at least you have like 3 different jersey colors that you can rotate through. So it's definitely a possibility of something that can happen. But I can almost guarantee it's not.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. It's not going to happen, but it's a cool idea to definitely discuss, at least for sure. So looking at other news here, there were some teams that were eliminated from the playoff that we should bring up. The San Jose Sharks were eliminated from playoff contention. Should not surprise anyone. They are last in the NHL currently, so should not surprise anyone. They're eliminated. The Ducks also got eliminated this past Sunday. Again, another team that should not surprise anyone either. And the final piece of news I want to get into is actually something that's going on and developing right now. Sean Couturier, the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, has been healthy scratched by John Tortorella for the game against the Maple Leafs. Now, the Flyers are winning that game currently 3-2. They're blowing it right now. It was 3-0. Now it's 3-2. So I want to go to Carter. I'm going to try and find a clip here. I'm going to go to Carter first because Carter's a Flyers fan. Then I'll go to Seth. But Carter, what are your thoughts on Sean Couturier being scratched?
What are we doing here? This is our captain. I think no matter what, you pretty much have to keep him in the lineup. It doesn't help when you're playing him fourth line that he's not performing well. He's your captain. He's one of our best two-way players. I think you have to put him on the second or first line no matter what. He's one of our best players. He's wearing the C for a reason, and it's because he's the voice of that locker room. You take him out of that locker room, do they have a voice? Yeah. Is it Sean Couturier? No. He's not your captain. Like, they don't have a captain right now. I know that they went pretty much this entire season without one, but once you name a captain, some guys kind of step back a little bit from their talking role, and then now the captain's out of the room, and it's just it's not the same. So realistically, I think that Coots has not been put in a position to succeed this season, and I think especially getting put the burden of captain, like, in the middle of a season, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Usually it's announced at the start of the year, and you kind of get to feel things out and you get the ball rolling. So it's got to be hard for him as well. But at the same time, like, they haven't put him in a position to succeed this season. So I get it. Torts is trying to send a message, but You can't do it to your captain.
Now, before Seth starts talking, it's 4-2. We're not blowing the lead anymore. It's 4-2. We're good. But I also want to read the quote that I heard too. So Couturier on what's been going on recently, he said, quote, "I've been putting in the work for a while. I've been struggling, but I've been working on my game. And it's frustrating the way that I've been treated around here lately, but it is what it is." So on a level, Carter, I agree with you. But on another level, I disagree with you. Because at the same time, yes, he is the captain. But does that really mean that in a scenario like this, should he not be held accountable like everyone else? If
he should. He should.
Yeah.
He definitely should. I'm not saying he shouldn't be held accountable. I'm saying they haven't put him in a position to succeed. If you're the best guy and you're getting fourth line minutes, and it's been consistent, you're not going to perform well no matter what. If you're getting put on a checking line and you're a scorer, that's not going to go over too well for looking at your stats.
And here's the issue, too. With Couturier, he was out for all of last year and the year before that. So he missed a sizable time of hockey. So I think it takes some time to get adjusted to it a little bit. So I think that plays a factor in it, too. But definitely he should be held accountable a little bit. But I definitely do agree with you. They should be definitely giving him the opportunity to succeed as well. So, Seth, since you're the guest here, what are your thoughts on this situation as a Penguins fan?
So there has to be something else going on in the locker room for them to scratch their captain. I mean, it's not. I mean, he's got 2 points in the last 5 games. In the last 10, he's got 4. 4. So I mean, there's got to be something going on in the locker room, a message that Torts has to be sending. Now, if we get into 2 games where he's a healthy scratch, then maybe we start to panic there. I mean, he's got, 35, 36 points this season, so not a bad season for someone who's 31. I mean, and he's not again, don't hate me for this, but he's not top echelon of the league.
To be honest.
I mean, he's more middle of the pack and obviously with missing a lot of last year, it doesn't help. But I mean, he's a player that has been with the Flyers for a while. Sometimes you just got to set the tone early and say, hey, look, guys, I'm not afraid to bench your captain. I'm not afraid to bench you. So, I mean, I wasn't aware that he was playing 4th line minutes.
I wasn't either.
So that's news to me. But I mean, it sucks, but I mean, it's part of Torts' scheme. Torts is doing something that will wake the rest of the guys up.
I kind of agree with that. And before I go back to Carter, if he has any more thoughts, I think he is trying to light a fire under everyone's ass, because they played 2 games against Toronto and Boston where they allowed 12 goals combined. Whether you blame that on the goalie or not, that's not going to win you the hockey games. And I think that you're in a really crucial part of the season where this team is obviously, they're in a playoff spot, but they got teams swiftly catching up to them. Like the Capitals have been doing really well. The Red Wings are there. The Islanders are there. So you have teams catching up to you. It's just the issue is that, you need to start winning these games. And understandably so, they have a really tough schedule. They play the Hurricanes, they play the Rangers, and they play the Bruins and the Panthers. So it is long from over from this really hard schedule, but they're gonna need to win at least 2 or 3 of these games if they want to stay in that playoff contention. Because if they just lose enough, then eventually they're gonna be out of it. So I think he's trying to send a message and light a fire under everyone's ass. That's kind of why I see Couturier getting scratched. But I agree with you. I think that if it becomes 2 games, then it's a concern. So, Carter, you have any more thoughts?
Nah, I got nothing.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move out of news, and we're going to play some games. So we're going to start with a new game, and this is a game that is directed towards Seth and Carter. It's a game where I'm going to say a topic. I'm going to say something. Like, for example, I'd say, I don't know, the Calgary Flames. And you have to describe your thoughts on that thing with one word. One singular word. We get the rules?
Yes.
Okay, so
2 words?
No, 1 word. 1.
2 words.
Okay. 2 words?
1.
2?
All right.
4?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Trash.
Trash.
Philadelphia Flyers.
Trash.
Goated.
Sidney Crosby.
Goat.
Canada.
Tom Wilson.
Plug.
Decent.
Ooh, I thought Seth was gonna trash talk him there.
I don't hate Tom Wilson like I used to.
Evgeny Kuznetsov.
Coke.
Cocaine.
Okay. Ron Hextall.
Terrible.
Hitler.
Oh my god. Why did I have a feeling you were gonna say something like that?
Dude, he said dictator earlier. I'm like, as soon as you said Hexel, I'm like, he's gonna fucking do it.
Matt Rempe.
Viral.
Garbage.
What? What'd you say?
Me?
Wait,
To me?
say it again. Say it again, both of you.
I said garbage because he's look. I liked him before, but then he like had a flying elbow on Siegenthaler, and I'm like, okay, like that's kind of. He didn't even try to go for the body. He was just flying elbow. Didn't like that.
And Carter,
All respect to the kid, but
what'd you say?
Oh, I just said viral.
Oh. All right, so to make it easier, well, I say the rest of these. Seth goes first, then Carter goes, okay? All right. Winnipeg Jets.
surprising.
Champs.
Oh my god. Play the clip. New York Islanders.
Garbage.
Shit.
John Tortorella.
Fiery.
Goat.
Connor Bedard.
What's the best word to use for this?
Calder. I'm just gonna take it. Dude, it's first word that comes to your head. Let's go.
Overhyped.
Ooh. Wow.
Literally, the league is. That's what the league's doing, and it's just annoying.
Mullet Arena.
Tiny.
Midget.
Jeff Carter.
Old.
Me.
Seattle Kraken.
Beautiful.
Eh.
And Laundry.
Legendary.
Legend.
Doc Emmerich.
Goat. Goat.
Yeah,
Just
goat.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Goat. You can also go flower, but goat.
I can only say one word, so I can't say one of the goats, but goat.
Braden Holtby.
Nostalgic.
Cinderella.
Ooh, that's a good word. Scott Stevens.
Okay.
Okay.
Korea.
Henrik Lundqvist.
King.
Liberty.
And last but
I can't
not
say New
least-
York, so.
And last but not least, New York Rangers.
Dumpster. I want to say dumpster fire, but I realize that's 2 words.
Choke.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. All right. Well,
There's one more word I want to use for the Rangers.
That was pretty interesting. So, I actually wanted to ask Seth about this earlier. What are your thoughts on Matt Rempe?
I mean, I think it's. Look, I like what he brings to the game. It's a game, part of the game that's been lost to a lot of people in the physicality of the game. You know, he's like what, 21. He's younger than he's a year younger than I am, and he's just a giant going out there and fighting. I think it's good for the game. I think it definitely brings some more eyes to the game. However, he needs to dial it in a little bit. he can't keep like just going out there and trying to hurt people because he's going to get his ass kicked one of these days. But I like that he's kind of going out there and he's brought back a part of the game that's been lost. But I think he needs to be a little more careful.
Yeah, that's kind of what me and Carter have been saying the last couple of weeks when we've discussed Rentbeat in the podcast. I have one more game, and it's actually for Carter to do to Seth. So, Carter, I have a job for you.
Yep.
You are going to have Seth blind rank any topic you'd like.
Oh.
Any topic it doesn't have
It's gonna
to
be fun.
It can be.
You guys are stealing this from Night Owls.
Do I pull out the number generator too?
Ooh, I don't know.
Let's do it.
All right. You're gonna blind rank each NHL team's leading scorer.
All right.
So I'll pull out like the number generator. I'm just gonna go by standings. And then like overall standings, and then I'll just click on the team and whoever their leading scorer is, that's who we're gonna do. Sound good to you, Seth?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay,
Let's do it.
perfect. Now I'm just gonna have you sit there while I get this ready.
Sit tight. I didn't tell Carter about this. That's kind of why.
No, I was not prepared for this at all. You're kind of a little scummy for that, but it's okay.
Well, I actually kind of forgot about the rest of the podcast. I did my questions, and then I was like, "Oh, I got to do games, and I got to do other things to do."
Hey, you guys are good. We do the same thing for Night Owls. Like we do blind rankings for Night Owls, and we do our draft, which is our most like listened to part of the show. And we like usually just figure that shit out like 2 minutes before we go back live. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Nord, I want you to do the same thing. You don't have to pick the same spots as Seth, but you're gonna blind rank as well.
Okay.
Is this going on the IG?
It
most likely
will. Probably will.
Yeah.
We'll clip a few. I already have a few ideas that we're gonna put on the IG. So
right.
No worries.
Shifley hat trick. Woo! Sorry.
Flyers win
anyway.
as well. Penguins lose.
So did the Jets. They beat the Fraud Rangers.
We lost.
Yeah.
Let's go. We lost.
The tank.
God,
I'm like rooting against this team now because I just want to tank and get a good pick.
Guys, all our teams won. Oh wait, Seth, that sucks. Nordic, high five.
Hey, my team won. My team won in that we're getting worse and we're getting a better draft pick. So
well, hey, that's good for you, Seth. We all need our moral victories.
We do. All
right, you guys ready?
We are.
All right. So the first team, we got number 17. So the 17th team in the NHL is the St. Louis Blues, and their top player, Robert Thomas. He is their top point getter. Having a very untalked about season here. He's got 23 goals, 50 assists for 73 points. This isn't just ranking them off of where they're at in points. This is just genuine player rankings.
I'll let Seth go first.
I'm going to go baseline 3 because I know there's players that I can get in 1 and 2. I'm going to go baseline 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 4. I think we're gonna get a lot of players that are doing better than that right now.
Okay, so Seth went 3, Nordic went 4.
I should have went 3. I should have done what Seth did because.
Well, too late. You fucked up.
All right, whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
Next one, we got the number 11, and that team is the Nashville Predators with their leading scorer being Philip Forsberg, 35 goals, 36 assists, 71 points. Where are you putting Philip Forsberg?
See, I love the stash, right? The stash to stash connection is unreal right now.
Yeah.
I love Philip Forsberg, but I know I'm going to get better players at 2 and 3. I think Nord probably 1 and 2. Yeah, 1 and 2. I think Nord he chose right in going 4 first. So I'm gonna have to stoop to 4 on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the opposite. I'm gonna put him at 3. Well, I'm kind of I'm just like Steph's opposite order. So.
Yeah. All right. So you guys
inverse,
both
if you
lost 3 and 4. So you got 1, 2, and 5 left for both of you. Next up, we got the number 13, and that team is going to be the Vegas Golden Knights, with their top point getter being Jonathan Marchessault, 37 goals, 21 assists for 58 points. Through 67 games played, they do not have other than Eichel, who's hurt right now, probably on LTIR, I'd assume.
Probably.
Because why the fuck not? But yeah, Marchessault, 58 points. Where are you guys putting Jonathan Marchessault?
5. There's no other option. 5.
I don't know though. Like, I mean, I guess you do have to put him 5. I'll put him 5 as well. I'll go the same road as Seth, because you got to think that, like, I don't know. You might get worse teams. I don't know. We might have just screwed ourselves over here.
Well, yeah, you might get worse teams, but you also might get better players. Like, we could get down to New Jersey, and you could end up getting Jack Hughes. Like, you never know.
And then we'll get, like, 31 and get freaking Mikhail.
Bedard.
But no, Mikhail Granlund. So, just, Anywho.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Next one, number 9.
Okay.
9th best team in the NHL. We're looking at Toronto, so Austin Matthews, I'm pretty sure. No, Willie Nylander, 87 points, 36 goals, 51 assists, 87 points. Where are you guys putting William Nylander?
Willie at 2.
I'm going to go for the bold. I'm putting Willie at 1. I'm going for the bold. I'm putting Willie at 1. I don't think we get a better player. I don't think we get a better player. I don't think we do.
I cannot wait for us to get McDavid.
I'll get up and leave.
All right. Okay, it was. I got 13 again, so we're gonna respin. We got the number 2, which is New York, and that is Artemi Panarin. 94
Give me one, baby.
94 points, 38 goals, 56 assists.
Yeah.
That's why you don't go bold.
I think Seth wins this one. I got to put him at 2. So, there you go.
No, honestly, I will be honest though, boys. Not a bad list. I think
neither of us did.
I
think
you take the 3 and 4 from Nord and the 1 and 2 from Seth. You combine those. I think that this is a flawless list.
Oh, 100%.
I would say so.
And then he got Marchessault in there. And he's got that ugly duckling in there. It's like, ugh.
But, yeah, gotta put him at 5. We gotta have an ugly duckling at 5, of course.
But hey, definitely a good list, boys. So pat yourselves on the back. You know, that was great work. I don't know what else to do.
If you want to do another one, it doesn't have to be hockey related. That's up to you.
Yeah, non-hockey one. All right.
If you want to just call it, that's fine.
No, you know what? Hang on. Let me see if I can find. Hang on. Is this an actual thing? Oh wow!
I might actually have one for you boys. Hold on.
Ooh,
that's an actual thing.
Is that going to do us? I don't mind.
Yeah, I might have one for you. Because I said we do this for Night Owls, so I have stuff that we have done in the past. So let me see here. I write all these down, and okay, all right, I got one for you. Non-hockey related, I'll give you months.
Months of the year?
Months of the year.
Okay.
Blind ranking these?
Blind ranking. And I also have 3 more where they came from as well. So if we want to keep on going.
Okay.
All right, so first, who wants to go first? Who wants to choose first? I don't care.
Carter can choose first. I'll go second.
Kata, you'll go first, all right? So I'm going to give you June.
Okay, that's not a bad month. I think, you're looking at, that's prime summer right there. I don't think life gets. Well, my school's done in April, so that doesn't really affect me. But like high school and everything, like that's right where. You know what? I think I'm gonna put that at 2.
Do I pick the same months as him, or are you giving me different months?
I'm giving you the same month.
Okay, all right. So June. I don't know. That's a pretty good month, but I feel like there's better months. I'm gonna go the stalemate 3. I'm going 3.
All right, so he's following my footsteps and going 3 first. All right, let's.
I'm copying Seth now.
I'll give you February.
Ooh.
It's not a bad month. It's a short month, right?
Short,
but I think, yeah.
Black History Month, Valentine's Day, Nordic 97 Day. It's not a bad month.
Don't care about that last one.
Oh, okay, all right.
No, I think I'm gonna have to put that one at 4. I think at least this month it was like really cold in Winnipeg during February, so that kind of sucked. So I'm gonna put that one at 4. I think that's it's a decent month, but it's a short month. So
I kind of agree with Carter. I think I'm gonna put it at 4 too.
All right, I will give you December.
oh, you giving me Christmas? Ooh. Is it?
I'm scheming too.
Huh?
I might be scheming too.
I know you definitely are, and I don't like it. Fuck, that's a good month. World Juniors start. Christmas.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Spring or winter break starts too. Oh god, this one like here's the thing. This could so be a 1, but I also really don't mind putting it at 3 either. But the fact that you said you're scheming is pissing me off because now I'm like, fuck. He's either gonna put a shit month at 1 or a great month at 1, and I'm gonna look like an idiot.
And mind you, these are directly pulled from my radio show picks. So like I'm just giving you like just random picks on the list from my radio show. So you're getting a Night Owls experience is what you're getting.
Think about it here, Carter.
Dude. Why is this so hard? This is months. This doesn't even like matter.
I feel like the hockey players were easier.
Honestly, man. Fuck.
I'm gonna say it before you. I'm gonna say mine before you because I already have mine planned out. I got my 3 and 4 taken. I think I'm okay. I'm gonna go 1. I'm gonna go 1.
Fuck. Why am I struggling on this? This is bad.
It's funny is what it is.
I know. This is probably hilarious for you, isn't it, Seth?
It is hilarious.
Oh my god. Okay, give me. I'll put it at 3.
So just to recap, Carter, you have your 1 open. You have June at 2, December at 3, February at 4, and your 5 open. So it's 1 or 5 for you. So you kind of pigeonholed yourself. Evan kind of left it open. So December, you have your 2 open, 3 June, February at 4, and 5 open. Are you boys ready?
Okay,
no.
I'm ready.
I'll give you July.
Oh. Oh yes. All right, I'm gonna put July is like prime summer, Independence Day for the Americans. Carter, you don't care about that. Yeah.
1776 bitches.
What we like to hear.
Fuck you, you fucking British cunts.
How I don't even.
Sorry.
Know. How many years since America was founded?
It's also Seth Chason Day. My birthday's in that month, so.
I don't really care.
I don't know. I'm going 2. I'm putting that at 2.
All right.
You know what? I am completely comfortable putting July at 1.
All right, so your 5s today, boys, will be March.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I like that. No, I like
now,
that. Now,
would you have killed me if I put November in your 5?
Not really, to be honest. I wouldn't have been mad either, to be honest. Because I think, like, the only month I think you could have, like, pissed me off in was maybe August. That might have been the month. That,
okay. What about,
I think if July would have ended up in my 5, I think I would have been pissed.
I also think that, too, like, if you put September, I probably would have been pissed off as well. Or even...
What about October?
Or October, I would have been mad, too, because that's the NHL season, Halloween.
My birthday. That's all that matters.
The fact that my birthday month got 1 and 2, I'm not complaining.
Love to see
I do have another one for you, boys. So again, bringing Night Owls here to the NordCast. We always debate this topic thoroughly in the last segment of our show. At we're all both loopy at like 10:45 at night. We argue about what is the best fictional dog.
Oh my god!
Oh,
both can be live action or cartoon. And I will hold my judgments until the end.
That's
Should we start spitballing some out there just to like, you know?
Give me your top three. Just give me your top three.
I don't really know. Like that's kind of like an interesting list. I mean, you got Snoopy, you got Brian, you got who's another one? There's a few other ones that you could definitely think of. Carter.
Underrated pick. You ever watch those talking dog movies? You know, like the Super Buddies and like
Super Buddies? I haven't watched that in years.
Dude, oh my god. That was like peak child movies. That's not my pick.
Big one here, to be honest with you, boys. You're missing a big one here, to be honest with you.
Oh, what's the big one?
Like a big one.
Airbud?
No, not even that. No, it's not that.
No?
You're doing a bit, aren't you? You're doing a bit with Airbud.
No.
Is it animated?
Yeah. One of the greatest cartoon dogs of all time. There's a TV show named after him.
Scooby-Doo!
Oh, or
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Thank you! God!
Scooby-Doo is the greatest cartoon dog of all time.
I think Scooby-Doo is one of the top, for sure.
It's not. It's the greatest. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
You know what?
That was my childhood.
That
was my childhood.
Does have a great snack line. He does.
Both the Scooby snacks and the gummy bear or the gummy Scooby treats.
Dude, the gummies were the best.
I miss those old metallic colored bags. You know, that was the shit, man.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Seth. I kind of agree with the Scooby-Doo answer.
Now, Snoopy versus Scooby, who's better? Just want to get your honest opinion.
I mean, I don't know. Those are like two of the most iconic animated dogs of all time. Like,
I think if you're looking at like legacy, right? I think we're talking Scooby-Doo here. But really, I think if we're talking like cuteness or whatever, I think Snoopy would take it.
Scooby-Doo. Well, look, Snoopy, right? And here's my argument. Snoopy is not even the main character, right?
That's very
He's
true.
not cool enough to be the main character. And people want to say that, oh, yeah, he defeated the Red Baron. The Red Baron's a made-up fictional in the Snoopy-verse, if you will. The Snoopy-verse, the Peanuts-verse, whatever you want to call it. It's a made-up entity. He's pretending to fly on the plane. He doesn't actually take down the Red Baron. Scooby-Doo solves mysteries. That's so much better than what Snoopy could do. Snoopy couldn't do that.
I kind of agree with you.
Snoopy's the comic relief.
On a level,
as
like
is Scooby. Scooby, but
yeah.
I know we got a little off topic there, but
that's fine. That's pretty. I mean, me and Carter are just hockey all the friggin' time. So it's good to.
It's nice to bring some different topics out here.
Some spice. One more thing I do want to bring up before we wrap up this episode because we've been going on for almost an hour and a half. Seth, I don't know if you are into March Madness, but what are your March Madness picks?
I actually have not had a chance to sit down and look at my March Madness picks yet. Maryland didn't make it in, did they?
No,
I don't believe so.
Well, it would have been Maryland if they made it in. But is UConn in?
UConn is in.
Then I'll go UConn because go back to back.
I've been saying UConn.
I have Auburn. I have no idea about basketball. I just picked Auburn because why not?
I mean, tonight or tomorrow we're gonna have our Night Owls March Madness bracket released, and so I've got to go through the bracket, but I'm gonna go UConn back-to-back championships. It'd be nice to see. But been focusing more on spring training than I have with March Madness, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's probably gonna be an Instagram graphic, by the way. I just thought of that. So March Madness Instagram graphics going up, and Seth will be a part of it.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
No, not Jack this time because Jack decided not to be here.
I'll get Jack.
You know what, guys? Let's just spend the next 5 minutes trashing Jack. So anyway,
did you see? No. When we bring Jack on for episode 50, because I'm gonna bring Jack on for episode 50. Seth won't be there, unfortunately.
Are we gonna hold an intervention?
We are going to hold an intervention on that guy. Because
okay, good.
For a few reasons. First off, he picks Detroit in his Stanley Cup winners. Not even in a playoff spot.
What the fuck was that? No, honestly, I was fucking rattled by that. Oh my god, you text that in the group chat. I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna like, I don't know, he's gonna pick like at least someone relevant. Detroit, not even in a playoff spot. He's like, well, I don't know, I just got a feeling about DeBrincat and Kane. Oh my god, I get that I'm a homer, right? But the Jets actually legitimately have a chance to make it past the first round. Detroit does not. I don't know what he is smoking, but it is. We gotta cut him off.
Detroit almost barely lost to Columbus.
Maybe I should be the third host of the NordCast.
All right, Jack, if you're listening to this, you're cut. Sorry it had to be this way, but
No, and did you guys also see what I posted yesterday with his Flames players, guessing his Flames retired players? How did he forget Landon McDonald? Like, and then he says Iginla wrong, and I like ignored it at first, but like all the TikTok comments are just him saying Iginla wrong.
Oh my!
Well, how did he say it?
He said Iglina or something like that. He said something along those lines. I'm just like, are you serious?
I'll pull it up so you can hear it quick. Hang on.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, and
you had me going for that last minute there. I just couldn't stop laughing.
I think in the next episode we're gonna have an intervention with that guy, and we're just gonna say to him like, we're gonna read some of the comments from the TikTok and just be like, what, like, can you explain yourself? Think back to 90s, early 2000s.
The two for sure.
Just say them to me then.
Okay, Jerome Ignala.
All right.
Ignala.
And then I'm like, all right.
Ignala. Dear God.
Give it, Nord. I'm gonna say one thing. You cannot talk shit about anyone pronouncing shit wrong with your 2-time Achilles shit. Okay. You do not get to talk shit. Yeah. You do not get to talk shit about
what?
that.
All right.
Oh, so you don't know? You don't know?
Fill me in.
From the early
our first episode. Our first episode, we're talking about Max Pacioretty and how he's like out for the year or whatever, right?
Please don't tell me you mispronounced his name.
Ready for nothing, and it looked like a really good trade until this news came out that he's going to be out for 6 months with. Oh my God, I can't even say this. An Achilles. Is it Achilles?
With an Achilles, it's an Achilles, and not to mention that is not. Lord. He's done this twice.
No, I've done it more than once. I've done it more than twice.
Achilles are very like.
Can you say it now, Lord? Can you say it now? Clear the air.
Achilles.
Yep. There you go.
There we go.
You could really start paying attention in health class.
You think I pay attention in health class? I had a really hot 20-year-old teacher. You really think I paid attention?
Well, maybe if you did, you know how to pronounce Achilles.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. Fair enough.
Or maybe you were just hungry and really wanted chilies. I don't know, but
maybe he's really hungry. He wanted something else.
All right. PG podcast here.
This guy is a minor.
All right. So to wrap things up, Seth, thank you very much for coming on. We had a very great.
Hey, it's my pleasure, man.
If you want to promote your radio shows and some stuff that you have, you can just do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you can check me out on 91.1 WHFC Tuesdays from 10 or depends on the time. Sometimes it's 10 to 11 or 10 to 12. Sometimes it's 11 to 12, depending on what we have going on that day. On 9 to 11 p.m. every Friday night for Night Owls. Chason Show, the Chason Show on Spotify. You can also catch me on Instagram at the Seth Chason. I'll post links to all that stuff when it goes live. I also do play-by-play for the Harvard Community College lacrosse and soccer teams, and color commentary for baseball and soccer and basketball, all on Fighting Owl Vision, sometimes on 91.1 WHFC.
Awesome. So once again, thank you, Seth, very much for coming on. Carter, thank you for joining us as well. At least you're not Jack. That's all I'm going to say. At least you're not Jack. But anyways, that's for episode number 49 of the NordCast. Next episode's a big one, episode 50. All three of us will be here. I will make sure of that next week. We will have Jack and Carter here.
If not, just give me a call up.
Maybe. I might bring you up to blame Jack. No guests, probably, except for Seth, maybe. And then we'll talk about the podcast a little bit, talk about stuff that's going on that week, and, flame Jack. So that's going to be a pretty fun episode 50. But regardless, thank you all for watching episode number 49 of the NordCast. If you enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe down below if you are on the video side end. If you are on the audio side end, make sure to give us a good review, tell your friends, all that good stuff. If you want to follow the NordCast Instagram, you can follow it at NordCast_. The TikTok is the same thing, at NordCast_. We have been clipping plenty of clips from the episodes and posting them to each respective account. We will have plenty of clips from this episode as well, plenty from the end, the middle. Lots of clips here, lots of good stuff. So you will be seeing a lot of that on our platforms. But regardless, thank you all for watching and listening, and we will see you guys in episode number 50. Adios.